The notice came at 7:43 in the morning. Han Soah read it standing in the hallway of her apartment building, still in her coat, her keys in her hand. She read it once, then again. Then she folded it carefully, tucked it into her bag, and walked out into the cold like nothing had happened. But her hands wouldn't stop shaking. Her mother's surgery was due, but she had no money. At school, Kang Mirai was on her third coffee when she saw her. She had been standing at her office window for no particular reason. Or that was what she told herself. The courtyard below was filling up with students, the usual morning rush, nobody worth watching. Then Han Soah came through the east gate. Mirai went still. She picked up her phone and called Oh Sulgi. "I need to tell you something," she said the moment Sulgi picked up. Good morning to you too." "I'm serious." Mirai kept her eyes on the courtyard. "You know that bet we made. Whoever confesses to their crush first wins." "I remember." "I'm doing it today. I'm confessing today." Sulgi laughed. "Just like that?" "She just walked onto campus and I watched her cross the entire courtyard and I still can't breathe properly. So yes, just like that." Mirai pressed her fingers against the glass. "She moves like everything costs her something, but she's decided to pay it anyway. Every single day. I've never seen anyone carry themselves like that." Sulgi went quiet. "She's not loud about it," Mirai continued. "She doesn't perform, she just endures, quietly. And I don't know why that wrecked me, but it did." "Mirai," Sulgi said slowly, "that's your crush? That's the girl you've been watching for 2 months?" "Yes, why?" Sulgi said nothing for a moment. "No reason. I'll talk to you later." She hung up. Oh Sulgi stood in the middle of the courtyard with her phone in her hand and her heart doing something she didn't have a name for. Because Han Soah had just walked past her. Close enough that Sulgi caught the scent of her. Something simple, something warm, completely out of place against the sharp autumn cold. Soah didn't notice her. She never noticed her. She walked with her bag crushed to her chest and her eyes forward, and her expression set in that way she had, like emotion was something she could hold back through sheer will. Sulgi called Lim Chaewon immediately. "She's here," she said. "Who?" Chaewon asked. "My girl, the one I told you about." Sulgi turned, watching Soah push through the administration building doors. "Chaewon, I'm telling you. She walked past me just now and I completely lost my ability to function like a normal person." "You never functioned like a normal person. This is not the time." Sulgi started walking toward the administration building. She looked upset. Something is wrong. She had this expression like, you know when someone has already decided they're not going to cry and their whole face becomes a wall? That. "Sulgi, I'm confessing today. We made a bet and I'm doing it. She's real and she's right there and I'm tired of watching her from a distance like some coward." She stopped at the bottom of the administration steps. "She has this fire in her, Chaewon, like life keeps coming at her and she keeps choosing to stand up, every time. I've never wanted to know someone this badly in my entire life." Chaewon was quiet for a long moment. "What does she look like?" she asked carefully. "Like someone who needs someone in her corner," Sulgi said, "and has no idea I exist." A pause. "I see," Chaewon said softly. "Go, I'll talk to you after." Lim Chaewon lowered her phone and stood completely still inside the administration building. Han Soah was 4 feet away from her. She was at the financial aid window, both hands flat on the counter, her voice low and controlled in the way of someone fighting very hard to stay that way. "The appeal was submitted 3 weeks ago," Soah said. "I have the confirmation number right here." The officer shook his head. "Miss Han, the decision came back this morning. The appeal was denied." "Then I'll resubmit. Tell me what's missing. Tell me what I need to fix." "There's nothing to fix. The funding threshold, my mother's treatment stops without this." Soah's voice dropped. "Do you understand what I'm saying to you? It stops." The officer looked past her to the next person in line. Chaewon's chest tightened. She had been watching Han Soah for 3 months. Not loudly. Not obviously. Just watching. The way Soah sat alone in the back of the library and read with her whole body, like the book was something she was having a private conversation with. The way she laughed when she thought no one was looking, sudden and unguarded, and completely unaware of how it changed the entire atmosphere of a room. Soah had a stillness underneath all her motion, a depth, the kind that lived in people who had been through something and decided to become something because of it. Chaewon had never told anyone that, not even Mirai, not even Seulgi. She watched Soah take the denied letter from the window, watched her fold it once, press it flat against her chest with both hands like she was trying to keep something inside from getting out. Then Soah turned around. Kang Mirai was standing near the entrance, coat still on, eyes wide. Oh Seulgi stood 3 steps behind her, frozen. Lim Chaewon hadn't moved from the bulletin board. Soah looked at all 3 of them. Her chin trembled once. She pressed her lips together. Then her legs gave out and she went down onto her knees on the cold floor and looked up at them with eyes that had finally run out of wall to hide behind. "I don't know what to do anymore," she whispered. The words hit the silence like a crack through ice. Nobody moved. And then, slowly, all 3 professors looked away from Soah and looked at each other. And the realization didn't come gently. It crashed. They liked the same girl, and she was on her knees, begging for help. All 3 of them took a step toward Soah at the exact same moment, and then all 3 of them stopped. At the exact same moment. Soah looked up from the floor. Mirai looked at Seulgi. Seulgi looked at Chaewon. Chaewon looked at the floor. Then all 3 of them looked at Soah. "Get up," Mirai said quietly. Soah shook her head. "I can't." She told them everything, still on her knees, her voice cracking in places she couldn't control anymore. The denied appeal. The medical bills stacked on her kitchen counter. The number the hospital had given her. The exact amount her mother needed for the next round of treatment. She said the number out loud, and her voice broke completely on the last digit. "I've tried everything," she said. "I've tried every office, every application, every person I know. I have nothing left to try." She looked up at them. "I don't even know why I'm telling you this. I don't even know you like that. I don't know what to do." Seulgi's jaw was tight. Chaewon hadn't blinked. Mirai crouched down in front of Soah, her coat pooling on the cold floor, and looked at her directly. "What is the amount?" $3 million. Mirai stood up. She looked at Seulgi, then at Chaewon. Something passed between all 3 of them that had no name yet. "Wait here," Mirai said to Soah. "Don't move." They walked to an office by the side. Mirai shut the door and locked it and turned around and Seulgi was already talking. "How long?" Seulgi said. "Excuse me? How long have you liked her?" Mirai set her jaw. "That's not what we're here to discuss." "It is exactly what we're here to discuss." Seulgi stepped closer. "Because I have been watching that girl for 2 months, Mirai. 2 months. And this morning I called you and told you I was confessing today, and you said nothing. You said nothing." "Because I didn't know she was the one," Mirai said coldly. "Do you think I would have said nothing if I had known? Then how did we both, because we never described her by name?" Mirai's voice was sharp, but something underneath it wasn't. "We never said her name to each other, not once." The room went quiet. Both of them turned to Lim Chaewon. Chaewon was standing by the window. She hadn't said anything since they walked in. "Chaewon," Seulgi said slowly. "How long?" 3 months, Chaewon said. Seulgi made a sound that wasn't quite a laugh. "Or 3 months. I never said anything because it wasn't relevant. It's extremely relevant right now." "I know that," Chaewon said. She turned from the window. "I know." The silence came back, heavier this time. Seulgi pressed both hands flat on the desk. "So what do we do? There's a girl on the floor outside this door who needs help, real help, and all 3 of us walked into this building today planning to confess to her." Nobody answered. "I'm not stepping back," Seulgi said. Neither am I, Mirai said. They both looked at Chaewon. I was here first, Chaewon said simply. Seulgi pointed at her. That is not how this works. Then how does it work? Chaewon asked. Her voice was calm, but her eyes weren't. Tell me, because right now there is a girl outside who needs more help than any one of us can give her alone. And all three of us want to be the one she chooses. She paused. So maybe the answer isn't one of us. The room went very still. Mirai looked at her. What are you saying? I'm saying we help her, all three of us, together. Chaewon's voice didn't waver. A contract, 3 months with her, we each get a fair chance. At the end, she decides. Seulgi stared at her. You're serious? She needs money. We have money. We all want the same thing. This solves every problem in this room. Another silence. Then Mirai straightened her coat. 3 months. 3 months, Chaewon confirmed. They both looked at Seulgi. Seulgi exhaled hard through her nose. Fine, but I'm confessing first. You absolutely are not, Mirai said, already moving toward the door. Soah was still on the floor when they came back out. She had pulled her knees to her chest and was staring at the folded notice in her hand. She looked up when she heard their footsteps. All three of them stood in front of her. Mirai spoke first. We'll give you the full amount, every bill, every treatment, whatever your mother needs. Soah's breath caught. What? But there are conditions, Seulgi said. Chaewon crouched down to Soah's eye level. We want you to sign a marriage contract, 3 months, all three of us. Soah stared at her. I'm sorry, all three of, we like you, Seulgi said flatly. All three of us, separately. We didn't know it was the same person until 20 minutes ago. Soah looked from Seulgi to Mirai to Chaewon. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. At the end of 3 months, Mirai said, you choose, whoever you want, or no one. That is also a choice. This is insane, Soah whispered. Yes, Chaewon agreed quietly. It is. Soah opened her mouth to respond, and her phone rang. She looked down at the screen. The hospital. Her hand was shaking when she answered. She listened for 4 seconds. Her face went completely white. I'll be there, she said. I'll be there right now. She hung up, looked up at all three of them. My mother went into shock, she said. They need to operate, right now. Nobody spoke. Soah looked down at her phone, then at the denied letter, then up at 3 women who were watching her with 3 completely different expressions, and the same eyes. She exhaled. Where do I sign? 3 days after the surgery. Soah stood in the doorway with one bag on her shoulder and understood immediately that she had never lived anywhere like this. Floor-to-ceiling windows, warm light, furniture that looked like it had never been touched by anyone tired or struggling or ordinary. She stepped inside. All 3 of them were already there. Dinner was quiet, beautiful, and uncomfortable in equal measure. Seulgi had cooked. She moved around the kitchen like she belonged there, loud, warm, completely unbothered, and put food in front of everyone like it was something she had always done. Chaewon poured water for everyone without being asked. Mirai sat at the head of the table and watched Soah the way she always did, like she was reading something Soah hadn't written yet. After dinner, the dishes were cleared and the city bled light beyond the windows, and the 4 of them existed in the same space, without crisis holding them together for the first time. The air changed. Seulgi sat beside Soah on the couch and didn't pretend there was any reason other than wanting to be close to her. Relax, Seulgi said. I am relaxed, Soah said. You're sitting like you're in an interview. Seulgi reached over and placed one hand on Soah's shoulder, firm, warm, and pressed down slowly until Soah's spine released against the cushion. There. Soah felt the warmth of her hand through her shirt like a brand. Seulgi didn't move her hand. She slid it slowly across Soah's upper back instead, tracing the line of tension there, her fingers pressing into the tight muscle along her shoulder blade. Soa's breath came out longer than she intended. "You've been carrying this tension all week," Seulgi said quietly. Her fingers found a knot and pressed into it with slow, deliberate circles. Soa's head dropped forward involuntarily. "Let it go." "Seulgi." "I'm just helping," Seulgi said, but her voice had dropped an octave, and her hand slid to the back of Soa's neck, fingers curling gently into her hair. And that was not just helping, and every single person in the room knew it. Chaewon crossed the room and sat on Soa's other side. She didn't speak. She simply lifted Soa's hand from her lap and held it in both of hers, turning it over slowly, her thumb tracing the inside of Soa's wrist where her pulse lived. She pressed there, gently, deliberately, and felt it jump. She looked at Soa. "Ma, your heart is fast." "I'm aware," Soa whispered. Chaewon lifted Soa's wrist and pressed her lips to the inside of it. Soft, unhurried, just that. Soa made a sound she immediately tried to swallow. Seulgi heard it anyway. She leaned in close, her lips brushing the curve of Soa's ear. "You said you wouldn't respond," she murmured. "You're responding." "Stop," Soa said. But she didn't move. "Tell me to actually stop," Seulgi said. Her free hand traced slowly down Soa's side, following the curve of her waist, her touch light enough to make Soa lean into it, chasing the pressure. "And I will." Soa said nothing. Seulgi's hand settled at her hip and pulled her closer. Mirai stood from the armchair. She crossed the room without hurry, without hesitation, and stopped in front of Soa. She looked down at her, at the flush climbing her neck, at her parted lips, at the way she was caught between Seulgi's warmth on one side and Chaewon's quiet pull on the other. She crouched down in front of her. She placed 2 fingers under Soa's chin and tilted her face up the way she had that first day in the courtyard, except this time there was nothing clinical about it. "Look at me," Mirai said. Soa looked at her. Mirai's thumb traced her lower lip, slowly, watching her own movement with focused, dark eyes. Soa's lips parted under the pressure, and Mirai felt it, and something in her expression broke open just slightly at the edges. "You thought you'd feel nothing," Mirai said. "I thought wrong," Soa admitted. Mirai leaned forward. Her lips grazed Soa's jaw, barely a touch, barely pressure, trailing toward her mouth with devastating patience. Behind Soa, Seulgi's hand slid beneath the hem of her shirt and pressed flat and warm against the small of her back, skin to skin. Soa's spine arched. Chaewon's mouth found the curve of her neck. Soa's hand came up and gripped Mirai's collar. The room had no air left. All 4 of them breathed the same breath. Mirai's lips were a heartbeat from Soa's when Soa's phone erupted. Not a call, a flood. Notification after notification hammering the cushion until she grabbed it just to make it stop. The school forum. 1 photo. All 4 of them entering the building but yesterday. Faces clear. Timestamp visible. The caption, "Is this sex for marks in action?" The post had 400 replies. And climbing. The phone continued to buzz in Soa's hand like it was alive, like it was trying to warn her. She looked at the screen and the bottom fell out of her stomach. The photo was clear, crisp. All 4 of them walking into the building together, her face, Mirai's face, Seulgi's face, Chaewon's face, caught mid-step, mid-laugh, completely unaware. The timestamp was visible. The building entrance was visible. Everything was visible. The caption burned underneath it. "Is this sex for marks in action?" "Let me see it," Seulgi said. Soa turned the screen around. The color left Seulgi's face. Not gradually, all at once, like something had been pulled out of her. She took the phone with both hands and stared at it, and her jaw worked, but nothing came out. Mirai crossed the room in 4 steps and looked over Seulgi's shoulder. Her expression didn't collapse the way Seulgi's did. It went the other direction, closed, hard, frighteningly controlled. But her hand found the back of the couch and gripped it. Chaewon said nothing. She walked to the window and stood there with her back to the room and her arms crossed over her chest and her shoulders very, very still. Someone knew where this apartment was, Mirai said. The room absorbed that. They had told nobody, moved fast, paid cash, and yet someone had been outside that building with a camera, positioned and ready, before they even arrived. Silgi looked up from the phone. Who knew we were coming here? Nobody answered, because the answer was supposed to be nobody. The next day, Soah felt the energy the moment she walked through the campus gate. The stairs came first, then the quiet, that specific, loaded quiet that meant everyone had already seen it and already decided. A group of students near the fountain stopped talking when she passed. She heard them start again 3 seconds later, louder than before. She kept walking. The hallway outside her lecture room stopped her cold. Printed copies of the forum photo covered the wall from one end to the other. Someone had taped them up during the night. 10, maybe 15 copies. Her face circled in red marker on every single one. Across the bottom of one, someone had written in thick black letters, "Dyke. Whore. Pick one." Soah stood in the hallway and read it. Let it land, let it sit in her chest where it wanted to sit. Then she walked past all of them and into the classroom and sat down at her desk. The 2 students at her row grabbed their bags and moved without a word. A boy near the back laughed at something on his phone and held it up to show his friend, and they both looked at Soah when they laughed. She opened her notebook. Her hand was shaking so badly she couldn't write. Halfway through the lecture, a folded note landed on her desk. She opened it under the table. "Disgusting lesbian! Get out of this school!" She folded it, put it in her bag, kept her eyes on the board. After class, 3 students blocked the doorway. They weren't shouting. That was what made it worse. The girl in front looked at Soah with a calm, deliberate disgust that was more violent than any raised voice. "Must be nice," she said, "sleeping your way through 3 professors." "I'm not." "We saw the photo." She stepped closer. 3 women, that's sick. You're sick. All 4 of you are sick, and you shouldn't be allowed anywhere near this campus. The 2 behind her nodded. One of them said the word again, the one from the wall, quietly, directly at Soah's face. Soah looked at her. Then she walked through the gap between them and didn't stop walking until she hit the stairwell and the door closed behind her and she was alone. She pressed both hands flat against the wall and dropped her head and breathed. In, out, in, out. Her eyes burned, but she didn't let the tears fall. On the other hand, Mirai's board letter was centered on her desk like someone had placed it deliberately. Silgi's was under her door. She saw it the moment she arrived and stood over it for a long time before picking it up. Chaewon's was hand-delivered by the department head who looked at the floor the entire time. Public emergency hearing. All 4 summoned. 48 hours. By noon, a formal student petition had been filed. Expulsion for Soah. Immediate termination for all 3 professors. Silgi read it at her desk with both hands flat on the table, and her breathing so controlled it was its own kind of violence. She called Mirai. "Have you seen the petition?" "Yes." "How many signatures?" 341 as of 10 minutes ago. Silgi was quiet for a moment. "Someone set us up." "I know." "Mirai." Her voice cracked slightly at the edge, just slightly. "Who had access to our apartment?" Mirai didn't answer immediately. When she did, her voice was very quiet. "I don't know yet." Hours later, a journalist published at 2 p.m. The headline read, "3 professors, 1 student, 1 contract. Who is really being exploited?" The contract was in it. Specific details, accurate details, details that had never existed anywhere outside the apartment walls. Soah read it in the hospital elevator and felt the floor disappear beneath her. She walked to her mother's room and pushed the door open and stopped. Her mother was sitting up, holding a printed copy of the article. Someone had left it folded on her bedside table and she had read every single word. She looked up at Soah. Her face wasn't confused. It wasn't frightened. It was disgusted. 3 women, she said. Her voice was low and completely broken. "My daughter with 3 women." "Iyama, listen to me." "Don't." Her hand came up hard. Don't explain this to me. Don't stand there and explain this to me like I'm stupid. Her eyes filled, but her expression didn't soften, not even slightly. I raised you, and you went and you... Her voice fractured. She pressed her lips together. Those women took advantage of you. Or you let them. I don't know which one is worse. It wasn't like that. You are in a relationship with 3 women, Soah. The word women came out like something she was spitting out. 3. And you let them put it in a contract like you were something to be bought. Her chin trembled. I would have rather died in this bed, she whispered, than have you do this. The words went through Soah like a blade. She stood in the doorway of her mother's hospital room and felt every single thing she had been holding together for the past 4 days come apart at once, silently, completely, with nobody to catch it. She turned around and walked out. The door clicked shut behind her. She pressed her back against the corridor wall and slid down to the cold floor and sat there with her knees pulled up and her face turned away from the passing nurses and the fluorescent lights and everything. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She stared at it through 3 rings. 4, 5. She answered. The voice was calm, deliberate, and familiar in a way she couldn't place yet. I know who posted the photo, it said, and when you find out, you're going to wish I hadn't told you. The end. Who made that call? Who leaked the contract? And will her mother's words destroy everything before love even gets a chance? You already know you need part 2. Like this video. Drop a comment telling us who you think the saboteur is. And subscribe so part 2 finds you soon.